Guys, I'm gonna say this in no uncertain terms. Hear me and hear me clearly. Black Lives Matter, not the KKK, is the biggest white supremacist group in this country right now. Because what is happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota is a white supremacist dream. And don't get me wrong, guys. Everybody needs the police, whether black or white. And what they've done in Minneapolis, Minnesota has affected everybody negatively. But I have to speak the liberal language because that's the only way they can get it. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my videos, and make sure you share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a liberal's worst nightmare. You can follow me on Twitter at gforemanbcp. Let's get it. All right, guys, so watch this video of a city council meeting between the police chief of Minneapolis and the council members talking about rising crime rates in the city.
I would appreciate some more information on how we're addressing the carjackings. I know that there's been a number of them in the community and they've really terrorized residents. And it seems to me, at least, that part of the problem is really in the crime itself. We're having multiple individuals roll up in vehicles without plates or with stolen plates, so you can't necessarily trace it back to where they came from. Once they carjack somebody, it's like the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, which is also about auto theft, where, you know, by the time you call 911 and an officer is dispatched, they could be a mile plus away and it becomes very difficult to locate them. And then
Chief Arradondo, I really want to make sure we're continuing to focus attention at 38th and Chicago, this quote unquote George Floyd Square, or some people are calling it an autonomous zone, but the level of gun violence, drug dealing, intimidation, extortion. People are having to pay to get out of their alleys. Are we doing anything to be engaged and resolve these problems? People are being attacked while riding their bikes, and the crime is actually spreading out from, I think maybe Agape is having some impact, but now that is spreading out throughout, the South Side.
I too, in the 4th precinct, am having a lot of constituents come back and say that that officers are essentially telling them unless they had more people, they're not going to be able to do their jobs. And that is essentially, again, making people ask, like, well, then what are we paying for now? So I just wanted to share that similar issue. Last night, I had yet another 17-year-old murdered in my ward. I would say that I don't have an exact number, but it's been at least 5 17-year-olds have been murdered in my ward. MPD is not showing up. When they get here, they say, oh, well, we're just running from call to call, so we can't really do anything. And this is, I can't keep having children murdered in my ward, people sitting in their homes being hit by bullets. I know that it's not only the police department, but that is who people are looking to right now. And again, much the same as my colleagues, what you're saying here is not what officers are telling people when they're showing up. They're essentially saying that that there's nothing that they can do because there's not enough resources, or it essentially, like, I have had lots of people who have said, even leadership is saying, if only we had more officers, then these problems would not be happening. So they're lobbying for more resources when that is hard to come by right now in the time that we're in. So first, I just have to say that, this is unacceptable, what's happening in my community. I am tired of 17-year-old children being murdered.
Where are the police? Where are the police is what they ask, guys. Where are the police? I wonder why they're asking this question. Maybe because this same silly ass city council decided 2 or 3 months ago to defund the police. and to abolish the police department. Who would have thought that abolishing and defunding the police department would be a bad idea? Every conservative on the planet and anybody with common sense could have told you that this was not going to end well. And yes, I'm heated about this. I'm heated because these communities are suffering behind the ideology of these far left liberals, communists, and Black Lives Matter, who is pushing policies on the black community that are hurting people. There are people out there that are getting hurt. Murders are up. Robberies are up. Crime is up. Right? Minneapolis has more murders in the first 9 months of this year than they've had all last year. Over 100 officers have either resigned or taken leave. Over 100. Perpetuated by the fact that they voted to abolish the police department. And then you sit here, you get in a city council meeting and you got the gall, you got the balls, the cojones to ask the chief where the police are at, why they're not responding to certain calls. And then the police are telling you, yeah, we getting call by call by call. We're spread thin. We don't have any resources. Y'all voted to take $1 million out of the police budget and put it into some health department to try to prevent violence or some crazy shit like that. And you know why I call Black Lives Matter a white supremacist group? Because if I was a white supremacist, this is what I would do. I would take the police out of your neighborhoods. I would let crime go crazy. I would make you dependent on the government. And I would create an environment where no business can thrive. That's a simple playbook. That's the most effective form of white supremacy I've ever seen in my life. Defunding the police. But I'm a coon. I'm a sellout because I advocate for conservative economic principles. But the conservatives, the Republicans are racist. Donald Trump is racist. Even though he signed opportunity zones to try to help neighborhoods just like these that are suffering. Y'all so caught up in this silly ass race narrative, you can't even really see who's screwing you over. These liberals are screwing you guys over. They want to take police out of your neighborhoods. They want you to destroy each other. It's right there. They're seeing it right there. We're seeing the results of it right now. But I'm a coon. I'm a sellout because I want people to pull themselves up out of bootstraps. I believe in a nuclear family. I believe in a mom and a dad raising their kids. You know the best prescription for poverty? Marriage. Not having kids before you're 25. That's the only government program we need. But they don't advocate for that. You know why they don't advocate for that? Because they know that's something that's actually help you and you don't need them anymore if you can be self-sufficient. But you can't be self-sufficient if you don't have the police in the neighborhood to create an environment where businesses can thrive. This is simple stuff, guys. It's not hard to understand. Let go of this race narrative. Let it go, because this is fooling and tricking people into doing things that are not in their best interest. And these communities are suffering. And you see it right here in Minneapolis. And it really burns me. Again, this is why liberal policies sound great. They sound good. They sound all rosy when you listening to them. But when actual implementation comes around, oh man, look, it's a fucking disaster. And excuse my language, but this situation really burns me. It burns me because, like I said, people are suffering behind the ignorance of these people who fail for this Black Lives Matter narrative. And that's why I say, if you support Black Lives Matter, this is what you're supporting. You're not helping your community. You're hurting them. You're hurting them. And the people try to say, well, you can say Black Lives Matter without supporting the organization. No, you can't. Because you know what? The first place I saw defund the police was from the Black Lives Matter organization. Before anybody started saying anything about defunding the police, the first place I saw it was on the Black Lives Matter website. Those people trickle down the rhetoric to the people that claim they support Black Lives Matter, and it's all the same. So no, you cannot disconnect yourself from the national organization because they control the rhetoric. They're the ones that started this defund the police nonsense. And yes, I know what defund the police really means. Don't play these semantic games with me. Liberals are always gonna play this stupid ass game where they try to act like, well, you don't really understand what I'm really trying to say. No, I understand what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say is you want to pull funds from the police department and put them into community programs that you think gonna help prevent crimes from happening in the first place. Therefore, you need less police. And that all sounds all rosy and good, except the fact that you can't take police off the streets before you actually solve poverty. Dummies. And anybody could have told you that. You put the cart before the horse. If anything, if you're actually going to solve the poverty issue, you need business. You need investment. You need safe communities so business owners feel comfortable coming into these communities and starting businesses. That's how you get rid of poverty. That's how you decrease crime. So you need more police. If anything, you need to increase the funding for the police. And then y'all always want to expect these police to go out here and be super soldiers, you know, like they RoboCop or something. And y'all don't want to, and talking about they need more training. And everybody can agree. Of course, cops need more training, just the same way the military need more training. You always need to be training when you're in a position like that. You always should have more training. No, there's never enough training in a position like that. But that requires more funding, not less. You guys don't know what the hell you want. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you want. You don't know anything about anything at all. Nothing. Zero. Not a zip. And I feel so bad for these people because they're being led by fools, dummies, communists, socialists that don't know anything. I'm not just trying to look out for my own people. I'm trying to look out for everybody. Anybody living in poverty, black or white. Because we all need the police. But y'all sit here and y'all follow behind these white liberals and these celebrities that can afford to pay for whatever security they want. And y'all sit here and voting to defund the police. And then they crying and now the city council crying to the police chief talking about, well, where the police at? Where do you think they went? You can't do your job as a police officer in this country without being afraid of sparking riots and protests. If you, God forbid, have to, you know, use your weapon on the job, then your judge and your jury are going to be the liberals on the internet trying to tell you how to do your job when they ain't never been police officer a day in their life. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. You can't make this story up, man. We tried to tell them over and over and over again. Guys, you can't defund the police. You can't abolish the police. You need the police. These impoverished communities need the police more than anybody, because with poverty comes crime. So when you take the police away, the crime's not going anywhere. The crime is going to go up. People know, oh man, there's no police around. I can get away with, you know, stealing a car. I can get away with murdering somebody. I can get away with breaking and entering. It's common sense. Anybody with just a minute bit of common sense could have told you what was going to happen. And all these guys need to step down. Every single last one of these city council members that voted to defund the police need to step down. I'll go even further. Anybody that supported Black Lives Matter or that sent money to Black Lives Matter, they need to pay reparations, since y'all love reparations so much, to everybody in these communities that are suffering from the police not being there. That's what you need to do. Since y'all love reparations so much, if you support Black Lives Matter, send your money to these communities that you're advocating to defund the police so they can pay for their own private security. Because this is what's happening. The people that are suffering are the people that did not vote for this. They didn't want this. Anybody with any common sense does not want the police to go away. They want the police to be there. They're there for a reason. But again, this is what you get. This is what you get with liberal politicians. This city council meeting is a Trump ad. This city council meeting and the story of Minneapolis is going to create so many Trump supporters. It ain't going to be funny. It ain't going to be funny. What's going to happen in November is going to be a landslide. Because there's no way in hell anybody in this country with common sense can vote for this type of stuff and support this type of stuff. I mean, these guys have the cojones to ask the police chief where the police are at, to complain about crimes going up when y'all voted to take $1 million out of the police department. How's that social worker program going? They think that they can replace police officers with social workers. That's the type of cuckoo for Cocoa Puff wacko world these people live in, where they think everything is just rainbow and roses and that, you know, there's not bad people out here on the streets, where you need men and women who are armed and trained to come in and enforce the law. Social worker can't be a police officer, guys. It's very simple. Get out of this cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, get into the real world, and learn that this is the reality of the world that you create when you don't have police. You are hurting your own communities. You are hurting the ability for these communities to pull themselves out of poverty and to have a business environment, because the communities are not safe. Nobody's gonna invest any money in a business that's not in a safe community. It's simple stuff, guys. It's simple stuff. I'm not advocating for anything revolutionary here. I'm advocating for some simple common sense. But you got to let go of this liberal ideology that's holding people back. That's not in your best interest. These people do not care about you. They don't care about the people that have less. If anything, they're incentivized to make your life worse, so you can continue to complain about your life being bad and then blame racism for it. This is why you need real leadership. You need people to come in here who are business oriented, business focused, and they don't drink the liberal Kool-Aid. They understand what it takes to establish a pro-business environment in these neighborhoods. That's what you need. And that's why I continue to advocate for. Get off the Democrat plantation. Get a business mindset. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's simple stuff, guys. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.